Today's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a step into the deep end in terms of intuition. And having said that, moving forward in this video, I want to reiterate for, the 100th time on this channel, I am not an expert in any of this. What I'm doing is essentially taking something that I've read or learned about and expanding on that, and then sharing it in hopefully a concise, coherent way, because I'm passionate about this stuff. It's not because I'm an expert, it's not because I believe that I am the best at understanding these things. I just want to share it. So that's why I'm making this video. So the topic that I want to explore today is intuition, but a specific part of intuition and how our intuition affects our biases. What I meant by stepping into the deep end is that when we're looking at intuition today, it's going to be more than just surface level stuff. We're going to literally go below the surface and look at the philosophy of intuition, specifically the thoughts of a philosopher named Immanuel Kant. And Immanuel Kant was a German-born philosopher that was born in the kind of mid 1700s and died in the early 1800s. I think it was like 1804 or something that he passed away. But he still holds like a huge amount of credibility among modern philosophers. He's considered one of the great philosophers of our modern day. And actually in college, I took an ethics course and I read a book from Kant. And that book, well, at the time, I didn't understand a lot of what was going on in that book, but I became absolutely fascinated with philosophy. But anyways, we're going to look at Kant's view of intuition and how his philosophy affects how we view intuition today. Okay, so Kant's philosophy of intuition is that intuition is the interpretation of sensory data. So in order to understand what that means, we need to understand that Kant believed that there were essentially two realms to reality. At least that's how I understand it. And those two realms are the phenomenal realm and the nominal realm. The phenomenal realm being the perception that we take as humans on the reality that we experience. So the reality from our perspective. And the nominal realm is the reality that exists regardless of human perception. So from my perspective, I see things physically and metaphysically a certain way, and someone else will see it a slightly different way. And so that would be the phenomenal realm. And then the nominal realm is things as they are regardless of perception. So intuition cannot understand the nominal realm. Intuition is the interpretation of sensory data. So it is your perspective, your experience of sensory, your senses, how you're sensing eyes, smell, or eyes, ears, nose, like any touch, the feel, and you can't experience the nominal realm using your senses, if that makes sense. It's kind of complicated, but stick with me. I really hope that I can explain this. So I think a lot in metaphors and allegories and parables. So I kind of came up with a metaphor for this to maybe explain this a little bit better. At least it helped me understand it better just coming up with this metaphor. So imagine that we live on a planet that has incredibly harsh conditions. The environment is incredibly harsh. And in order to survive, you have to wear one of two suits. The first suit, we're gonna call it the personal suit, is a suit, it's super high tech. It artificially amplifies the senses, and each set is unique. No two suits produce the exact same experience. So when someone is wearing a suit and encounters a flower, the colors are going to be vibrant. The smell is going to be overwhelming. The feel of the petals is going to be velvety soft, but not everyone's going to experience it the same way. And the most high-tech thing about this suit is that the more the user wears this suit, the more unique the suit becomes. It will adapt to the wearer. Over time, the suit will begin to highlight the symbols, the sensory symbols that represent things that the person likes, things that the user fears. It will become a sensory highlighter of the things that are most important according to that user. So for example, if a person loves dogs, the suit will show the user the dog in a kind light with a sense of happiness amplified for the user. But if a person was attacked by a dog and then had a fear of dogs, it would highlight maybe the teeth, and it will give the user a sense of dread and fear around a dog. Even though it would be the same dog, it would be two separate, unique experiences based on the suit that the person is wearing. If you're wondering what I'm doing crouching down here, it's windy on the ridge and I'm freezing, so I'm crouching down kind of over the ridge behind a hill, so to try and warm up. Anyways, the second suit, we're gonna call this the gray suit. It's not black and white, it's gray. So this suit actually dulls the senses. But in doing so, each suit gives the user a standard, unfiltered, unified experience across the board. The problem is this suit isn't as exciting to wear. It's not as exciting to experience this planet, the life on this planet. It's not as fun to experience it all in the gray suit. However, the benefits of this suit are very important. This suit encourages the user to think critically, to experience life beyond the mere appearance of it, and explore abstract thought. So it dulls a sensory experience, allowing someone and encouraging someone to step back or move beyond sensory experience, however you want to see it. So two suits, sensory experience amplified, the other one dulls the senses and allows someone to see beyond what the senses are showing. Okay, so the first suit would represent the phenomenal realm, our sensory experience, if that wasn't obvious. And that suit gives us a beautiful way to live and to navigate this world. It is a useful suit. I do not want to miss that point. It is incredibly useful and important to have that suit because it gives us a safe, useful way to navigate this world, or to navigate life. And that's why most people will live their lives in that suit, because it's the easiest way to get around. The second suit is the nominal realm. It takes us from that sensory experience, a restricted point of view, and allows us to see the gestalt, to see the big picture, to not just focus on the limited point of view, while useful doesn't give us the full picture. And as we step out of that sensory experience into the gray suit, from the personal suit to the gray suit, we're able to experience life differently and remove ourselves from our reliance on our uniquely personal suits that have unique flaws and perspective, because that's what our suits become, is a reflection of our lives and not an accurate picture of reality. According to cognitive science today, intuition is pattern recognition, or as John Vervaeke said, intuition is the result of implicit learning. And so what is happening, like the personal suit, is that our intuition is recognizing patterns in life. And those pattern recognition includes information theory, symbol interpretation, memory, and relevance. So when science refers to intuition today, they're referring to our body, our mind, our psyche's ability to interpret and understand patterns. So we can typically refer to our intuition as non-rational, not irrational. It's not crazy, it's non-rational. It is implicit learning. It is pattern recognition. Whether or not it is rational or true, we're taking that in with our intuitive learning, which is why it's biased, because intuition is generally not self-correcting. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, it's so cold. I'm gonna get overtaken by clouds right now. Intuition is incredibly important and just priceless in our lives. I mean, there are so many things that we know without knowing that we were taught that. We just implicitly learned it. So like, we know how long to hold eye contact in a social interaction. We know when it's appropriate or when the conversation is just kind of coming to a close and how to close the conversation. There are so many social cues like that, but then we also know how far to push ourselves on a run. There are just things that we intuitively learn that no one told us explicitly, but we just know. And that's our intuition. That's the power of our intuition. And it's absolutely incredible is that we're able to recognize incredibly complex patterns and apply them into our lives without being taught explicitly. Now, the problem with that is that our intuition is picking up on these patterns, whether or not they're true or false. And that's where our biases can become negatively affected by this pattern recognition that our intuition is trained to do. And that's because our intuition is our non-rational mind. Our non-rational mind is not interested in understanding the difference between causation and correlation. And that's where stepping out of our personal suit, out of our sensory experience, and into the gray suit to see the gestalt, to see the big picture, and how that can help us step back from the limited focus of our experience into seeing the big picture. And it helps us maybe see things more closely to how they really are, rather than how they are seen through our unique, personal, flawed lens of our lived experience. This is taking way too long for what I wanted to talk about. And so I'm going to talk about more about the gray suit and the benefits of putting that gray suit, the metaphorical gray suit, on in your life in another video. So with that said, if you found this interesting or helpful or even remotely understandable, please let me know. Like this video, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel. And most of all, share this video with someone and start a conversation about this and see if you guys can understand it better or different, and then leave me a comment. I really hope this can become a conversation offline and online. Thanks for watching.